Yo, what's going on the run? How you guys doing today? Welcome back to another Steve 2 video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Grandmaster Nightfalls and the build so you can be ready for the Grandmaster Nightfalls when they start up tomorrow. Whether you're going for the title or you're just trying to get some adept weapons, don't worry, this build is going to be good for you, especially those of you guys that are heading into LFG. And this build is pretty much designed to deal with pretty much everything the GMs throw at you. So you can have some ad clear, so you can have some survivability, so you can deal with every single champion. With this build, you can actually deal with all three types of champions all at once. So no matter the GM or the champions that might be in that GM, you're going to be able to make this build work. And this is also going to be for the Prismatic Hunter, so hopefully that's what you guys are looking for. But anyways, let's not waste any more time, let's get into it, and first let's start with our exotics. So first of all, we're going to start with our exotic weapon, and we're going to go with the X-Series Grenade Launcher. Now this weapon got probably one of the biggest glow-ups just ever in Destiny history. It went from just being like a niche weapon that was fun to use every once in a while, to an absolute powerhouse that does a ton of damage, as well as provide some pretty good utility as well. Now this is going to be the main weapon of the build, and it can deal with both some of the bigger enemies, like the champions, while at the same time being amazing against stats. Against stats, it can usually take out a couple per shot, since it does a lot of damage, and it also spawns those mods every time they get some kills. So that gives some more ad clear, as well as some utility, since those mods will also blind targets, making them easier to kill. And on top of that, the mods can also give us overshields. So not only is it utility to help us kill some more enemies, but also to keep us alive. And against the champions, this weapon is also going to be really well, since we can debuff them and then just lay into them. With the new buffs that this thing got, this thing does some surprising amount of damage. You would not expect the amount of damage this thing can actually do. And the more damage we do, the faster it shoots, and just the more damage we put out there against those champions. And this weapon will also be able to stop two different types of champions, the Unstoppables as well as the Overloads. So this thing is like the complete package. It is just such an amazing weapon, and it gets even better once you have the Catalyst. So I definitely recommend that you guys get the Catalyst done if you guys haven't done so. Basically, every time you get a kill with this weapon, it will amplify you, and whenever you're amplified, it enrages the weapon faster, meaning that it gets into that increased rate of fire mode just much faster. Now for the exotic that we're pairing this up, there's nothing better than the Mod Keepers. That's just it, man. It's the Mod Keepers. It's basically just gonna improve our weapon even more, so instead of just getting one mod to spawn every time we get a kill with our grenade launcher, it's gonna spawn two now. And on top of that, our grenades will also be able to spawn mods. And trust me, we're gonna be spamming lots of grenades. And the mods from our grenades are not only gonna be able to blind targets, but also jolt them, meaning that they're gonna give us even more ad clear. So we're just gonna constantly blinding, jolting, as well as getting some overshields for ourselves and also our teammates. Now for the other weapons that we're gonna pair with our exotic, first we're gonna have a scout rifle. Now I decided to go with the live fire, but you don't really have to go specifically for this weapon. As long as it's a scout rifle in the kinetic slot, that's pretty much what we're looking for. We're just looking for something that's gonna be able to deal with those barriers. Now, if you have a live fire, specifically with this role, definitely use it, because this thing is pretty much like a legendary wicked implement. It is so good, and it pairs up with the mods this season. Amazing. Now for the heavy, you want to go with a grenade launcher. It doesn't really have to be this one. It doesn't really have to be any specific grenade launcher. Just as long as you have a good roll in your heavy grenade launcher, that's pretty much like the only requirement. And this right here is just pretty much gonna be our champion destroyer. Whenever we have a champion we gotta deal with, we pull out our grenade launcher after we stun it, and then just make it disappear. That's pretty much it. Now for the super, we gotta go with the Silencer Squall. This thing is amazing in GMs, and it's still my favorite super to take whenever I don't have to run any specific super. It's gonna be great on ad clear, and it can also stun both Overloads and Unstoppables, so it gives you another way of being able to stun those champions. It's just gonna constantly damage and restun the champion. It is just fantastic, so you wanna go with the Silencer Squall. For your class ability, you wanna go with Gambler's Dodge, so you can get your melees back. And for the melee, we wanna go with Withering Blade. It's just a really good one in GMs. It slows, it freezes, it stuns both Unstoppables and Overloads, and with Crystalline Converter, it can even make some stasis crystals. Our grenade doesn't really matter, it's gonna be replaced by the mod grenade, so we pretty much just go for the lowest cooldown grenade, which would be the grapple. Now for our first aspect, we're gonna have Stylish Executioner. This guy let us go invisible, giving us a bit of extra safety and survivability, and there's a lot of different ways that we can actually activate this. We can do it with our weapon, we can do it with our grenades, our melee, our super, even our class abilities can help us trigger this, so we're going to be able to go invisible a lot of the time. But the main way that we're definitely going to be going invisible is through those mods. They're just going to be flying all over the place, defeating targets, that a lot of times you just kind of go invisible just randomly when you don't expect it, because we're going to have so many mods going around just killing things. And our second aspect is going to be Winter Shroud. Whenever we use our class ability, it slows the things around us. This is going to help keep us safe if something gets a little bit close. As soon as we dodge, we can just slow them, and they become easier to kill. And after we kill them and they're slowed, we immediately go invisible, adding some more survivability. And that slow will also be able to stun overload champions, so if an overload champion runs at you, you have an easy way to use not only get out of the way, but also stun it. Now let's start with our fragments. The first one we're going to have is the Facet of Dominance, and this is what's going to allow our mods to also apply Jolt. Jolt is going to give us more ad clear, more damage on like bigger targets, and overall it's just going to make our mods even deadlier. Now after that we're going to have the Facet of Protection, and this is going to give us some damage resistance whenever we're surrounded. I love this fragment for GMs, just anything that allows you to take some more damage is going to be pretty good there, just to increase our survivability. After that we're going to have the Facet of Purpose, which is going to give us a Frost Armor whenever we pick up some more power. And Frost Armor is just going to give us even more damage resistance, once again increasing our survivability. After that we have the Facet of Awakening. Whenever we rapidly defeat targets with light or darkness damage, it will create an elemental pickup of that matching type. Since we're going to be using our grenade launcher most of the time, we're going to be making some ionic traces. And that's going to be really important because it's going to let us have a ridiculous amount of armor charge, and that kind of like ties into our mods. And the final fragment that we're going to be running on this build is going to be the Facet of Balance. Whenever we rapidly defeat targets with light damage, we get some melee energy, and if we rapidly defeat targets with darkness damage, we're going to get some grenade energy. This is so we can basically always have some melees up. Most of our damage is going to be light damage, so it's just going to build up our melees, and whenever we do damage with our melees, then that will give us some grenade energy. We're going to have more than enough grenade energy just from our mods, so we're just trying to get our melee back faster. Now for the artifact mods, we're going to have mods all over the place. We have the grenade launcher mods, but not all of them this time. We have the overload one, so we can deal with the overloads, and also concussive reload, so we can put that weaken on the champions and some of the bigger targets with our grenade launcher. We also have armor awareness, so we can do the freezing burst around us whenever we have some frost armor, which should be a lot of the time, and also hail the storm. We're not really going to make that many stasis crystals, but whenever we do, they will slow and damage other targets. Same with crystalline converter, we're not really going to make too many stasis shards, but when we do, our melee is going to be able to make some more stasis crystals. We also have Killing Breeze, just so we can get a movement speed buff whenever we get some rapid final kills. Now down here, we're going to have a very important perk, Trace Evidence. Whenever we get some rapid final blows on jolted or blinded targets, we're going to generate some ionic traces, which is something that we're going to be able to do very easily since we can both jolt and blind. And whenever we boost this perk, which is actually the one that we are going to boost, is going to give us some armor charge whenever we pick up the ionic traces. We're going to be making a lot of them, so we're actually going to be getting tons of armor charge just from this mod alone. That's going to help us both keep our grenades up and also give us some emergency special ammo in case we just can't find any. Brain Freeze is going to be another good one. Whenever we freeze something, it essentially starts slowing things around it. This one's really good, and most of the time we're going to proc this just with our melees. And lastly, we have Surf Coal, which is going to give us some class ability energy whenever we pick up some stasis shards. Now these are the mods that we're going to be running on this build, and we're going to be starting here with the helmet. So we're going to be starting off here with Arc Siphon. Our grenade launcher is the main thing we're going to be using, so this is just going to make orbs with that. And then we also are going to have a Special Ammo Scout as well as Special Ammo Finder. We're pretty much going to be maining a special weapon, so we definitely want to get as much ammo as we can. Now for our gauntlets, we're going to have Grenade Kickstart, so we can get some energy back whenever we use a grenade, and also Firepower, so whenever we get some grenade kills, we make orbs of power. For the chest piece, we have some regular resistances, nothing really interesting there. For our boots, we're going to have Recuperation, so we can heal with orbs, Absolution, so we can get our abilities back with orbs, and lastly our Scavenger, so we can pick up more ammo from those special ammo drops. And lastly for our class item, we're going to have Outreach, Reaper, and Special Finisher. Outreach is so we can get some melee energy whenever we use a class ability, which we should be using a lot. And Reaper is gonna let us make some more orbs after using a class ability. And then Special Ammo Finisher is gonna be our failsafe. If we just can't find any ammo, like anywhere, then we go finish something and make some ammo that way. We make our own ammo if we just can't find any. We should always have some armor charge if we need to use our special finisher, but most of the time our armor charge is going to be used on Grenade Kickstart. And with that, that's actually the whole build. Now you guys know exactly what to run this build if you're going to take it into the GMs. And I really like this build this season. The mods are insane with the exterior buffs and with all the seasonal mods. It was just kind of like the perfect storm to make this build just become insane. So I hope that you guys like the build. Like always, there will be a link in the description and also in the pinned comment below if you guys want to give it a try. And if you guys end up doing some changes, make sure you guys tell me what you guys end up doing and how you like those changes with the build. I did run another version of this build that had stacks and stacks and overall just kind of relied more on armor charge. And I also like that one, but I feel like this one has more survivability and less risk, and overall just better for LFG, where you might find yourself just pretty much alone against the GM. But with that, we're going to end today's video. Thank you all for stopping by. Good luck with the GMs on this first week, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.